Hello everyone, this is Daryl, and we're back in the car again. This time we're in my son's '07 Ford Escape Hybrid, and he's having a little bit of trouble with the park function not engaging. When he puts the car in park, the cable seems to be out of sync. I'm thinking the cable popped it from the way it felt. It was like stiff, and then it popped real quick, and now the cable is real easy to move. It still shifts through all the gears okay, but it's when you put it in park does not actually engage. So what I'm thinking is that the cable has popped out of the retainer bracket down underneath where it hooks onto the bottom of the shifter mechanism, because I've inspected the front of it where it hooks to the transmission and everything looks fine up there. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to disassemble the center console and get to the shift mechanism on the Ford Escapes. This one happens to be a hybrid, but this would be the same function on any automatic transmission Escape up through model year 2007. All right, the first step, we've got a flat screwdriver, a small one, or a plastic pry tool, and we're going to take off this trim ring here. You see I've already popped it up, but what I did is I took the screwdriver, I worked it under there, back and forth, down here at this end, back and forth, and the key points on this are like here and here on each side. There's 4 tabs that hold that in. And once you've worked it up like this, you just keep working it back and forth, getting your fingers under it and lifting, get your fingers under it and lifting until it pops out. And it comes straight up like this, and you can see there's those 4 retainer clips. And to put it back in, you just set it in place like this and push it down until it starts clicking. So you hear it clicking into place. Those little grippers on there grab it and push it into place, and that's what holds it down. So we'll set that aside. We pulled the cup holders out to keep those from tipping and getting a mess. We've took everything out. We've worked the boot over the parking brake up so it's sliding up on that arm, because we're going to slide that up and over that as we take this off. And we've also reached our screwdriver underneath the accessory panel here and popped that up so that when we pull this out, we're going to set this aside. Actually, when it comes out, we'll probably just drop it right back through there like that into there, and we'll just do it right now. Push that right down in there. So when we get the... Alright, the next step is to gently pry up along this edge right here. There's a couple of clips back here, and we're going to pry up on that to pop those clips loose. And hang on, I got to put the phone down. Work the screwdriver in from the edge here toward the center, lifting as you go, and it'll pop right up and out. And that'll take our whole center mechanism loose. We'll pop the transmission into neutral. Oops. And as soon as we put the key back in. And apply the brake.
It's called Norman.
There we go.
Rise and tragic fall.
Alright, now we're in neutral. We've got this lifted up and loose. This is loose. There we go. Up and off. Up and off, he says. Hang on, there we go again. Now that was a little bit of a trickiness. I had to twist it sideways, get it just right. I can't move the emergency brake because that's the only thing holding the car steady right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and inspect the shift cable from here and see if we can figure out where it popped loose at. Alright, I was correct. Oh, shoot. I was correct. The shift cable, I don't know if you can see it, has popped off down there at the arm where it presses into. I don't know if we can. Right down here. You see the cable here is not connected to anything. It needs to go onto that pin right there. So we're going to try and get that back into place without taking the whole assembly out. But if we have to, there's only 4 bolts that hold the shift assembly into the place here. So if we have to take those out to get to it, we can. If not, I'm going to try and work it in by just sitting in here and working at it from here. Now if you wanted to remove the entire center console, there'd be 2 screws up here on each side, 1 right here on each side, and 4 screws down here in the bottom down there. And then you could remove the whole plastic trim console piece. I'm going to try and get that back on there without having to do that, but I may have to resort to that. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not, but I was able to snap it back into position, and it does not still actually move. It's still stuck really tight. So what I'm going to do is get back underneath the front of the transaxle, and I'm going to find a way to grab a hold of the arm on it and try and move the arm back and forth. I believe when I hit the deer, it may have gotten bent. So my idea here is maybe straighten it out a little, spray the heck out of it with some sort of lubricant, and try and get it to move manually, see if that helps. All right, I disconnected the cable down at the other end at the transmission. The parking select arm seems to move very smoothly on the other end. So this is still pretty stuck. So that means the problem is actually in the cable. I've had both ends of the cable disconnected. The shifter moves freely. The park arm moves freely. So that tells me there's something wrong with the cable. And the cable on this is kind of twisty and turny the way it's routed. It's clear and smooth down at the bottom. It's clear and smooth up here from the looks of it. So I'm thinking from the deer collision there may be a kink in it where it comes up from the transmission in front of the motor and then back around to the body. We're going to open the hood and we're going to look down in the front and see if we can find a kink in the cable now. Well, we got it kind of freed up. I oiled it, I manually moved it in and out. It still feels stiff in certain spots, really stiff. I'm not sure how well it's going to work out, but there's really not much more we can do with it. If this doesn't work out and when I get it all back together, I'm just going to say we're going to have to put in a new cable. And honestly, the cable is not too hard to put in once you've got it this far apart. You can see right down there, that blue part. Let's see, get a better look. Right down there, that blue part with the red backing, that's the actual cable where it goes through a bracket and then it heads out down through the firewall through a tube down there, which looks fairly easy to access probably from the outside. I saw where it went into the firewall at on the outside, so it doesn't look like it'd be too hard to fish into place. And basically just fish it out through here, run it around the hood. It leaps around the driver's side of the hood, then down over the top of the engine, making like a U shape down to the transaxle, right behind the cooling fans. And it looks pretty straightforward, pretty easy to change. I may go to the scrapyard this week and pick up that and the exhaust flex pipe rotted out on this. I patched it together with a couple pieces of straight pipe, but the flex pipe part wore out and sounded like a small truck when you started it up. So I pieced that back together using 2 pieces of pipe, and I'm going to go to the junkyard and get a new flex pipe for it too. But the as you can see, the shift cable, the whole shifter mechanism is all super easy to get to. Again, if you're not going to take this whole center console out, you've got this trim ring I showed you. Let's see, where's the trim ring go? Here, trim ring here, the accessory panel here that just pops out, and then these 2 clips on the back side of this that pop out. Once you lift up this lid here and pop a little screwdriver into there and pop it right out, everything just snaps right out. The reverse installation is going to be the same, and we're going to go ahead and show you that. Yeah, put this, it's going to be a little noisy because I got to put the key back in place and put it in neutral. I'll turn the key on, the key in, turn on, into neutral to make it easier to line up. The parking brake is firmly set, so we're not have to worry about that. We're going to take this, switch that back down into there. We'll fish that out later. It's going to be a little tricky here, but we're going to swing it this way around, catch the loop over the brake lever like so, get that started. Then we're going to swing this around, lift this side up and over that clip right there. You go. That side up and over the clip. Forgot to lift that up. Lifting the armrest up. Slide this back down a little bit. Guide this down into place. You can, oh, you hear that snapping right into place there? Look at that, right into place. All right, now we're gonna jiggle this around a little, lift this up, lift that back up. Gonna have a look here. Looks like everything's just about lined up. Yep, there we go. It's going. Here it's snapping into place. And then this part here will be the last part. Just give it a little thud. Slide this down to where you want it, which would be pretty much all the way down, right to there. And now, all right, now we're gonna fish this out like this. There we go. Rotate it around like that. Snap that back into place. Cup holder. Boom. Cup holder. Wrong way. There we go. Cup holder. Boom. Armrest down. And then you got the trim panel here. Trim panel. And let's see. Make sure we get in here right. Does it go like that or does it go like this? It goes... I think it goes either way. I don't think it matters, to tell you the truth. So, I'm gonna just... Maybe not. Let's see. Maybe it feels a little tight going in that way. Let's try the other way. It's got the big prong here. What's that go? Oh, they all look... all the hole slots look the same. And we've got one slit that's... or one retainer clip that's bigger than the others. We're going to try it this way then. We tried it the other way, it seemed tight. We'll try it this way. There we go. And there it is. Tight down all the way around. Look at that, just like new. Now we got to go out underneath and put the bottom splice guard back on. And we're still going to have to work this back and forth a little because I'm still not convinced that this is going to catch like we want it to. It's even doesn't even barely pulls down into drive. But maybe if I did oil it up real good with PB Blaster, maybe it'll soak into the hose a little, cable a little, and it'll work itself free if you really work it a lot. I don't know. I just don't know. Alright, well, anyway, we're going to go back underneath and put the splash guard and stuff back up. And we're going to call this project done. Didn't actually fix it, but you did see how it comes apart. You saw how to take the clip off on it. It just pops off with a screwdriver. Same thing with the bottom end. And I'll show you the finished project. There's no finished project to show you. Alright, to access the bottom side of the shift cable, you need to lower the splice guard here. And I removed 5 of these 10mm bolts to get this to pull down enough to access this without any trouble. And let me just show you here where it's at real quick. I left my flashlight there, but I don't think we'll need the flashlight. There's your cable, or your arm to your transmission, and the cable there, which has already been popped off of it. Then it comes around toward the passenger side, right there by the oil filter, and from there it turns and goes up past the coolant pump and loops around to the top of the engine compartment and goes back down this side up overhead to the firewall. And somewhere in there we've got a kink in it, and it's just not doing what we want it to do. So we're going to have to end up changing that cable, but not today. For today, we're just going to leave it disconnected and make sure we use the parking brake for now. I'll go to the scrapyard next week and try and pick up a cable along with a couple other little things I need. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye for now.